Hey guys, it's Michael here, and I've got a wonderful treat for you guys. We got Contessa Miller on. She's awesome. She's been through a lot of stuff. She knows Reiki, crystals, and she's just a great all-around psychic. And well, why don't you introduce yourself, Contessa?
Hi, Michael. I'm so excited to be here. Happy birthday to you. I'm so excited. And I'm doing a shout out to my girlfriend, Steph. She just turned 20, so happy birthday! Sorry. I'm so happy to be here.
I love your energy with that, too. I really do.
It's so fun to be able to just be like, it's my birthday and just totally love it. And I love it. Yes, I'm glad to be spending this time with you. Yay,
Yeah. So
yay.
how did you start out in all this, Contessa? Like, how did you escape with the crystals, the energy work and stuff? How did you start with all that?
Well, my father was American Indian, so he always, at a very young age, gave me rocks and so forth, and I was able to go to ceremony. And so I had the different visibility of spirit very, very young. And just as I matured, I just started continuing to be able to have the help of a lot of books and a lot of beautiful people coming in my path to help, help me along the way. So it's been fun.
Hmm. So what do you feel like is your like life mission that you've been really trying to push your entire life, really? What do you feel like's your main goal that you've been like you're like there's lots of different things out there but that you're all doing.
I want laughter. I want when I walk past people that they feel an absolute and total wave of laughter. I want people who don't know what it feels like to just laugh from the bottom of their soul to feel it. And just that's my mission. That's all it is. I think I just
That's all your mission?
that's all I want to do. I want to play with my rocks and oh, I just feel play with my rocks and I want to laugh. That's all, and have everybody else laugh.
So when did you like start out with like the energy work with healing and Reiki and such? When
Reiki.
did that start out? Hmm.
Oh, yes. Reiki really came into my life when we were going through that shift. And it definitely started pulling. I was a search and rescue diver. I was a recovery diver. And it was time for me to change over from that and start working with energy. Um, and that was around that shift. So it was interesting because I started getting a lot of sacred texts, sacred pictures and murals and books, and it just kind of all came together. And just classes were where they needed to be, and because you can do so much studying on your own and such, but you really do need that mentor and work. And now I'm up to Reiki Masters, so it's been quite fun. It's been a beautiful journey for sure.
I'd agree. I really agree. Like mentors are amazing. They help you kind of not fall into bad habits and stuff and help you when you
or,
need it.
or if you do have a bad habit,
Yeah.
then they have a way of pointing it out to you in a polite way.
Yeah. Like my mentor Judy, like when I first started out, she's like, "Well, you're not as much of an airhead as you used to be."
Thanks,
I was
sweetheart.
like, "Ouch!" But she was right. She was
Yeah.
right, and I was really like, I was glad I had a lot of those guys, and they were like a bunch of these more older ladies, and they helped me get past quite a few of my blocks and helped me transform quite a bit of my life. So, who was your first mentor? What was she like?
Oh, she was very beautiful. She was my father's wife, and she kind of knew when I was about 13. She knew that I was starting to play with tarot cards and starting to really pick up rocks and being able to really hear and listen to the energy of the rocks. And so she really had a good imprint on me that has lasted me all these years. On as my Reiki master, that would be Jerry Neptune, and she was phenomenal. Beautiful, beautiful woman. She is phenomenal psychic. I love sitting with her. She's amazing. And then along the way, I've had a lot of different energy workers that are just around me in their natural environment, and so they end up teaching me a lot about myself, and I learn so much from them. So
Hmm.
it's kind of nice, you never know who's gonna be, vamping your energy in a certain way. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh.
And I found a lot of times it's like the really down to earth psychics is that really get me going. Like I like a lot of the higher energy ones, but I like the ones who really get down touchy feely with your heart. Oh, I love those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Was there one person in your life that you felt like that really touched your heart the most? That even when you're going through like a pretty tough time, that they were kind of able to get you back on track.
My children, my husband, like my family.
Hmm.
I'm very extra close to my children. Well, we're very close, and family. We've been through some horrible things, had hard upbringing, and it's just to be brought back down to earth, and that love is amazing. There's nothing like it. And then I have the greatest friends in the world, and they're beautiful. Whenever I'm having a bad time, like they're right there, and then when I
Hmm.
need a good time, they're right there. I'm like,
Yeah. So some of the main topics we've got here so far, and we will be having a Q&A for those who are watching. So like every
yay!
few minutes we'll be doing a little Q&A and I'll pop it up and you guys will be able to ask your questions. Anyways, Contessa, what would you say is probably the best starting crystal to start out with, just for those who are just like going out of the gates?
Always a go-to would be for sure. A first one would be a clear quartz would be great because you can program it. It aligns all your chakras. It extends out your aura, and they're beautiful. You can buy them for cheap or find them pretty easily. I think
Hmm.
I have a pretty good one right here. Here we go. Clear quartz. These guys are
Ooh.
beautiful. So this would be like your master um, little stone guy that would clear everything. They're really pretty. I love
I,
them.
I still have my clear quartz, my first very quartz crystal. I still have him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him to death. Some there were times when I accidentally dropped him and he fell off my bed. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, they jump, man. They jump. I'm serious. Like I completely had one of my most beautiful hematite crystals jump out of my pocket this morning. I'm like, no, and he just smashed all over the place. I was in tears, and I know those people who've had a rock break know what I'm talking about. Oh, my poor baby.
Yeah,
So
and
I say they jump.
and it's like this time when they chip and stuff, you're like, oh.
No, don't.
And I heard an interesting thing with like Kim Grandall actually talked about like when the crystals chip, they actually grow in new ways of consciousness and such.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that.
changing our pathways. That's all.
Yeah. So any cool crystal tips that, like to get people started, like, like you showed me like that one where you hold the crystal like this and it kind of gets them going and such.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's see. Okay. Say you did have a quartz point like this. When you very first get it, definitely sage or salt or to clear it.
Hmm.
Okay. But then you also want to take your quartz and kind of pinch them just so that they spurt out their energy and then they're able to refill themselves, right? This is just a good way of getting it going or turning it on. And you'll be able to know where the basically the button is because the sides will feel different. You will feel what's right. If you have a tumbled stone, it'll feel the same. Let me see. Here we go.
Now,
Yeah.
do you find the tumbled stones or like the ones that aren't tumbled, do you feel like any are like better or, you know, like able to access the energy more, I would like to say?
For me, I think it's two parts. I love them like this because they're just raw and they're in their raw form. But then I also like the tumbled because I feel like my whole life has been tumbled and jumbled around. So I feel like I'm more of a tumbled stone person, if that makes sense. Like it's fun to be tumbled around.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So like when you first, what was your first kind of like thing with energy that you kind of really started to feel energy in your body? When was that first time you felt that? Like you that you remember?
Well, I've always been able to look at people's palms and be able to read their energy from their palms. And
Mhm.
as I became into my teen years, that's when I started noticing that I could just barely tap my hand on top of their hand, and then I could feel the difference in the
Mhm.
layers of the aura. And then that allowed me to be able to understand, well, what was I really reading?
Mhm.
So that started in my teen years, and then that was very highly, quickly developed very fast in my 20s. You'll love your 20s. You're gonna,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
you're gonna love. Oh, I love it. And so it just gradually started picking it up. But then that's when I started noticing the more that I did that, then I had to implement more rocks in my presence. I'd always have them in my pockets,
Mhm.
or I'd have to be wearing rocks. And then that's when I started really
Mhm.
studying my stones, because I love reading. I love to learn. And so once I started learning about my stones, then I could understand what I'm hearing, why I'm hearing, and why certain
Mhm.
things would manifest or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any books you would recommend? Like, there's some books I don't really like because they have a lot of the fluffy stuff that's not very useful, and I could just toss out the window. I'm just like, I don't like you.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, man, that was $20. Really? Yeah, yeah. I hear ya.
Uh,
I love, love, love. Judy Hall has the Crystals, Healing Crystals 101, and it's a real long book. I really love that. And then there's another pocket book that I really like, and that's from Richard Simmons. And I think it's called The Pocket Book of Stones. And it's like,
mhm.
perfect. Ladies can keep it in their purse. You can cart it around with you, and it's simple, fast, easy reading. And then it lets you be able to pick stones that you wouldn't really ordinarily pick up in a store. So it kind of makes you deeper research into what's really out there.
Yeah.
What are these rocks? What are they doing?
Yeah, and I kind of got the same thing that happened with me, except it was on the energy work side of things, where I got a couple of these books, my starter book, that just kind of got me started. It didn't use visualization actually. It kind of took me through a feeling method, which actually worked a lot better for me because sometimes even though I can visualize, it was a lot easier to do so with this
Yeah.
method where I was able to feel it. Kind of gave me new perspective where I was able to like since I was feeling energy all the time, I could actually go over there and be like I could touch something and I could get a lot more from it.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
I remember when I went to like the museum the other day, and I have not been able to get this out of my head since. Like I think I mentioned this to you earlier. I put my hand over like um an Indian drum, like that was
Uh,
for the ceremony.
that's funny. Remember you were talking about drumming the other day. I was like, hmm.
Yeah, I put my hand over that and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Good. You need a drum.
and it just goes
Nice.
yeah, and it just keeps on going. And it drives my wife crazy because sometimes I'll find myself tapping that and she'll be like, Michael.
That's fabulous. She's like, sweetheart. Nice.
Yeah,
Yay.
I love my wife. She kind of sometimes I get a little up in the air and she kind of brings me back down. She's like, hey, come back down, sweetie.
Perfect. Family tree. You got to anchor.
Oh yeah.
That's all boils down to.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I love challenges for that too. Like even when you have a challenge, it's like it kind of brings you back down to earth and
Yeah.
such. And like
Uh-huh.
kind of grounds you back and just like, okay, what do we got here? What do we got? Now, for those people that are having really huge challenges in their lives, what would you say in the moment? Because that's the most difficult time. Like they know what they want to do, kind of. Like let's say my boyfriend broke up with me, or he's cheating on me, or this friend was really awful to me. In that moment, like they know what they should do, but at the same time, they feel like they can't leave, or there's something that's just kind of holding them there. Like, what would you say to that kind of question?
Keep reminding yourself of your self-worth and stay in the positive mindset that it is going to pass and you are growing from it. You know, and that it's okay to feel some of those feelings, to just let them pass too. But in those moments, I say call on your higher self. And you know what? If they're not answering, keep calling again. And if you feel like they're not going to answer you, keep calling again and trust that everything's going to be good, you know?
Hmm.
And the more that you worry about it, then it's going to continue to be a focus of what's going on, and then you won't be able to see the positives. So just, you know, pay littler attention to it, you know, start to notice other things, bring yourself back to now.
Hmm.
And I know it's hard. It's difficult. It is so difficult. And I know a lot of us are going through some horrible, trying times. It is. It's hard. It's hard to let go of stuff. But it's turning that switch and, you know, changing
Hmm.
that frame of mind, and it gets better.
Yeah.
Like it does. Laugh it off.
Yeah.
Really.
And what I find in my own thing is like my mentors often told me, transform the emotions that you're feeling into something very positive and constructive. And you know, my
Mhm.
guides have been telling me that as well. And my guides have actually taken this further and said, turn everything like into constructive emotions. There is
Yeah.
some going to be some destruction with like these negative things, but the destruction can sometimes be good because it clears out the path for you to go. So sometimes destruction can be a bit of a good thing.
Absolutely.
Our supernova is bad.
Right?
And to refer on science here, are supernovas bad? No. Are
Yeah.
black holes bad? No.
Oh.
They are. Without a black hole, we would not have a spinning galaxy. Without a
Yes.
supernova,
Yes.
we have no elements higher than iron,
Yeah.
or for any regards the solar system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
I like to see that it's like it could be destructive, or is it?
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Would you like say for like anyone that's starting out, would you say there's some like little habits or things that are missteps they could avoid and such when they're first starting?
Hmm. Well, I think that like everybody has missteps, because you know what? Even though I've been walking this earth almost 40 years, I trip every once in a while, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So just to stay humble a lot and keep learning. Never stop learning your trade. And if you're going to do something, really seriously, do it to the best of your ability. Just go for it. A lot of people will try and persuade you this way and that way and feel comfortable saying no, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're very first starting out, it's like, oh, you know, whether you're, say you are a tarot card reader, you know, it's everybody, oh, give me a reading, give me a reading, give me a reading. And so then you're spending a lot of time doing that and not as much pampering and taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, make sure that you're, you know, taking care of yourself, setting boundaries, learning your trade, and being excited about it, you know, because it's
Yeah.
fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. I love
Yeah. I mean, ever since I started the kind of like the energy work stuff, like I've just like
it.
delved into every little thing I can, looking like, okay, what's this about this? And you know, like I'll talk to my guides, I'll like try to talk with my higher self, and I'll have dreams and stuff that will kind of start to push me forward. Like I learned how to like from some other things, like one was I learned how to control my body heat, and then I expanded that further, make myself faster, stronger, and it was just like it's like I could use these all for very useful things, and it's very awesome because I feel like I'm learning more about my body, or I guess some people would like to say their vessel, I suppose.
Hmm.
And it's like I'm learning how to take care of it and like what its full functionality is.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. You're in your body a really long time. People kind of forget about that you kind of have to like really feel into your body. And it's fun when you can, instead of being like, I'm trying to escape. No.
I want to be off this planet.
This lets you move around better. Take care of it.
And I find like there's a lot more that you can do with the body than you could ever do as formless.
Hmm.
Like this is a huge experience. Like we already have the formless in us. Like we, if with this, we have the form and the formless, so we can do a whole lot more now.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Uh, anyway, let's see if there's any questions at the moment. Nope, no questions at the moment. If you guys have any questions, just let us know. We have that
Yeah.
Q&A open for a reason.
Yay! It's always fun
So,
having questions. Yes.
yeah, let's see. What should we go on to next? Oh, you said you were in mediumship, right? For a while,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it for those that are doing channeling and other things, mediumship? Is there anything you would recommend? Like some cautions and also like some like helpful hints or like to get going in that direction. That's really well because I've heard some people get quite fried with that channeling because of all the energy.
Yes, they do. Yes, sometimes people they're people on the other side and they just want to chit chat really fast and boy, you better listen when they're ready to
Mhm.
talk. And so I drink a lot of water. I'm constantly drinking water. And of course, I constantly have crystals with me so that I'm making sure my energy is going away. A
Mhm.
word of caution would be once you've say left the people that you've given the message to is just don't worry about it anymore. Feel like you've hung up the phone and it's okay. Otherwise what happens is that spirit keeps like talking to you and talking to you and they kind of start hanging around and they don't need to. They can go somewhere else if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Like
Yeah, and like I've noticed sometimes even spirits can develop their own little like um, ego, so to say, or whatever. Like they can really start to influence people and such.
when people are on the other side, their personalities don't change. They are still the same.
Hmm.
Let me rephrase that or re-say that.
Yeah.
They do not change so much. I mean, they learn lessons on the other side, but their personalities are very much the same and they are
Hmm.
funny. Some people are very funny. Some people are, if they were cocky and kind of a little snot
Hmm.
beforehand, they might be a little bit nicer, but they still have that same type of personality for sure.
Oh yeah. And like I've seen that in kind of my own thing. It's like they still develop just in every way as we do.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
challenges and like learning does not stop.
No, no.
Yeah. Otherwise it'd be boring.
Mhm.
Like, can you imagine if it was like happy-go-lucky and it's like it was like that every day and nothing ever happened?
No, that would be boring. That would be boring. Yeah.
The only
No.
fun thing we could do is maybe like skydiving or climbing.
Yes, I'll take the climbing. I'm ready to go skydiving. I'm ready to go jump out of a plane. I think so. But we'll see.
Do the super extreme skydiving from space.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. I'm so afraid of heights.
That's kind of funny. You're a
Like,
climber, but you're
no.
afraid of
I
heights.
am. It's because my friends are fun bullies. That's all.
They're kind of like, Contessa, get out there. You're like, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I've been that scaredy cat being like, I don't want to get down. It's not fun when you're thousands of feet up in the air and you're just like, no, no, I'll just stay here. So it's all good. Yes.
And I'm a runner in that fashion, like where you're when like people are telling you to push yourself, and you're just like, it's like let's say you run the mile over here.
I can run halfway through the block because I have a husky and that's just about it. I'm fine with that. It's horrible.
Yeah, so like I know some people can get quite overwhelmed and like with channeling and such, and what'll happen is they get kind of like this energetic overload, and they can kind of get their brain a little fried. Yeah. So like, what are some precautions that you set up and like what you were taught to kind of set up to make sure you don't get yourself fried?
Let me hear what have you experienced as a good,
Yeah.
way of blocking that.
Yeah, one thing I do a lot is like I make sure that like first off I've done quite a bit of energy work to be able to handle that much energy in the first place. Because
Okay.
if you start right out of the block with just channeling, you're gonna fry yourself silly, like you just got struck with a lightning bolt. Because they have having two spirits inside you. Oh gosh, like you have yours and theirs. It's kind of getting really cramped in there. And it's like what people don't realize is there's a lot of energy with the souls, and when like a soul comes into you, yours is pretty well integrated and anchored into you, but this one is not. So it's kind of like opening up all the floodgates,
See,
and you.
so what now that you said that, it's fun. What I used to kind of deter some of that and diffuse some of that energy that you're talking about is I
Mm-hmm.
started working with the smoky quartz crystal. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why is so usually you think of a medium because that spirit or soul needs to slow its vibration down.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person needs to pick themselves up. That's why you have the medium. You're in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So you're just basically the telephone. So when you work with smoky quartz, what you're doing is you're kind of, bringing them closer to you instead of you exerting so much energy out to be able to hear them. And so
Mm-hmm.
then they're not so close. They're not like screaming in your ear like, "Hey, Michael!"
Yeah, they're not inside you, and you're just and talking through you, and you're just like,
So
help.
that's like, okay, you know what? I got personal space. Why don't you just stand right over there? We're good.
Yeah, it's like I don't want
That's
to burn.
No, you're good. You're good. So that's definitely a good for if you're really starting to first channel and work with that, or say you want to vamp that up, get a smoky quartz. They're fun. You can have a tumbled one or a
Mhm.
tower. Trying to see if I have any over here.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're all
So,
inside. They're in my room. Sorry.
is there any benefits to like I've channeled a few things before with myself, but like, what are some benefits of doing like the raw channeling where the spirit's actually inside you for a bit? What's the benefit of that versus like the having the medium over here of the smoky quartz, or is there not really a benefit?
You know what? It's gonna be whatever is gonna work best for you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, that's what it boils down to. And like, if you try one thing, it's like, just because you had pasta over here doesn't mean that this pasta over at this restaurant isn't going to be just as good. So it really just is, what the situation is, really. Because I think both are beneficial
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Yeah, and you know what I find too is like a lot of psychics have their own like gifts that are really strong, like especially with senses and stuff. And even that can like the senses can like start to like, really like kind of, guide their personality in some ways. Like for me, I'm very much a feeler. Like I love people. Like I love people. Like and when someone hurts me, it hurts. Oh my God. It hurts.
That's
And like when you
funny.
feel all these things around you, especially empaths, they feel this like I know what you guys are going through on this. It gets a little overwhelming. But I've noticed, and like there's a book I'm reading that talks about it too. I don't actually have it with me, but it was kind of showing me like how like some books can like guide like I mean sorry not books how some like senses can start to guide a person's personality a little bit. Like some like for me I'm very much a feeler like rejection for me can kind of hurt sometimes, like a lot. And I like to feel like where like I'm really helpful to a person. I like that. And like I'm kind of getting over that a little bit more where like I'm changing a little bit as my senses grow. I've noticed that like I've changed a little bit with that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it kind of gets a little interesting how that works. And yeah. Now like have you seen like I like to also would really like to go into this other topic too. Like I like to call some people the space cadets. They have a lot of high energy, but they don't like to come down to Earth. They're like we're out in space, and they have so much high energy that no one can like relate to them at all. Like I've seen that a lot, and like what would you recommend to them, like where they can feel the high energy, but
Well,
yet kind of be on the level where people can understand them and bring what they're kind of having with this higher energy, so they can bring it down here.
Well, the funny thing is we're all made out of water, so we kind of balance each other out. So when you're around somebody that's way, way up here, and say you're just kind of just having a good day, it's like you guys are, balancing each other out. And so
Hmm.
those guys are like picking you up for later on in the day or whatnot. but it's kind of funny because at the same time you don't even realize it, but you're grounding them down, and they're just like, whoa, you know. So it's kind of it's actually a fun balance. Like it's not so bad, but you know, it is true. Sometimes some people get a little bit more focused on that, and then they forget like little simple things, you know, just like to say hi and not like I had to pay rent this month, or you know, just simple little day-to-day things that are average human stuff, you know. Did you pick up bread?
Yeah. And,
yeah.
And it's like, you know, if you want that lifestyle, go live in a cave.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay to go live in a cave.
Yeah.
It's okay to go live in the cave.
I know, right?
It's like, if you're going to be working with energy all day and that high energy, go live in a cave. It's perfect for you.
This is I channeled once. I see a question on here from Nicole.
Ooh, okay. All right. Ooh, we've got quite a few people here. Oh,
Yay!
my gosh.
Hi, guys! Yay, Friday night fun!
All right. All right, let's see. We got Nicole here. We'll go with that first question. I channeled once, didn't even know I can do it. How can I practice more? That's a good question.
I'll let you go first. Let's see what do you think?
Like, I think a lot of times it's like you kind of get used to spirits first, like where you kind of feel them around you and you kind of really start to communicate, and then you can kind of become the telephone box, like Contessa like said or whatever. And because if you don't have that basis first, it's really difficult to channel, because it's like if you don't have the senses open in the first place, there's no telephone connection in the first place.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like you have that communication with the spirit. Like, I don't know how to describe it really. You might be able to answer this, Contessa, because for me it kind of came naturally, where they just started coming through me. And you know, like after I kind of like, you know, like got to hearing spirits a lot better and everything else. So what would you kind of say if a person like coming from very formal training, like where would you say would be the best bet?
Oh, for sure. Start talking to the archangels and really get to know the archangels and learn about them. You have different angels that start working your clairaudience and clairvoyance a lot stronger, as well as you can work with Archangel Azrael as the helping souls out that are mourning people. And so what happens is that helps your connection to be able to bring them over and kind of be able to channel that way. And then you feel less stressed because you're, you know, when you're sitting there trying to explain things, some people hear things and they're trying to explain it, and then some people where you have pictures, so you're seeing things better. So it just really depends on what's your natural talent, and then just like a runner, you would train that talent. So just keep, you know, working with, if you're vision, work with index cards. If you're hearing, sit in quiet, absolute quiet, turn your phones off, and just hear what quiet is. And then that really allows the guidance to come in, as well as you tuning in to what you need to hear.
Now, I love that you said the quiet part, because like all the time, like it's spirits usually come into me for me like when like everything's quiet and quieted down. It's like, and
stillness,
it's like, and it's like that's when they really like to come in, because everything's not like having so much energy pushing them out of the way or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you're not even focusing, and that's why I find out like a lot of your inspiration comes best at night, because like you have all this like stuff that comes raining down at night because people are just finally going, ah.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. What's going on? Yes.
Spirits are like, yay, communication time.
Everything, yeah, stillness really does speak, and it is huge. And then, you know, like every once in a while you might be wrong, and that's fine. It's, you know, you just keep trekking away. You know, you're still human, and that's fine. That's fine.
And one thing I'd like to add as precaution is like usually most things that you channel are not bad. It's like it could be channeled from some weird planet out of somewhere, and it's usually not bad, but when it becomes bad is when it's harmful to other people. So it's like kind of beware of that. And also it's like be aware of like when like spirits come in and they really start sticking around and they want to kind of integrate into your life. And if there's a relationship that's kind of set up, it's like it can be okay, but make sure that there are boundaries set, because it's like this is your world and this is your life. It's like, and I remember Contessa telling me earlier, it's like you don't have to listen to them. It's like, are they paying your bills?
Yeah.
Are they doing any of these other things for you? It's
Yeah.
like
Well, and that's how we have, yeah,
mhm,
yeah.
yeah.
It is fine because like sometimes people we just we help each other out in crisis and we help each other out when we're having fun. We just have to
Mhm.
you know and remember that too. It's all good.
Yeah, and I also find that like when everyone like they start to wake up and like they hear all these things like, oh, I hear this and this, but they forget that it's like you said earlier, it's like people are just the same as they are on the other side as they are over here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like not everything you hear is always true. So it's like you go on the internet, it's on Wikipedia. Does it mean it's true?
It's gotta be true.
I love that because it's like just
Yeah.
because it came from a higher dimension does
Yeah.
not mean it's true. It's like
Yes. Yes.
take it with a grain of salt, please.
Mhm.
All right, let's go with another question. Let's see. Okay, okay, we got Candace. It says, "Hi, Michael. Hi, Contessa. You look well."
Hi, Siri. Yay! Hi.
All right, let's see here. Okay, okay, we've got Alex B. Sebastian. I am a narcissist. How can I change my lifestyle? I, I would say, if you want to change your lifestyle, it's like more you should just, what do you want? Like, what do you really want? Uh, if you, like, whatever your lifestyle is, you gotta go with what you want to go for. What about
Yeah,
you, Contessa?
I was gonna say, it's oh, wow.
Yeah.
Karma sucks. Yeah, I mean, no matter what, it's like a boomerang effect. So if you want to
Yeah.
change your lifestyle, just change your behavior, and that's of your own every
Mhm.
day. If you want to change some little habit, change it if that feels good.
Mhm. And
Mhm.
as long as you're like accessing that kind of heart self of yours, like if you're actually paying attention to your heart, and
Mhm.
not so much with like the emotions help, but you also got to be listening to that heart of what you're really supposed to go out there and do. And when you do that, like all these other kind of things start to kind of fall away, I've noticed. Because it's like you're focusing so much on what you're supposed to do rather than like all these other little things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that. Do you
I
think we've
hope you
answered
have,
that?
yeah, I hope you know what? I hope everything goes good. I hope like everything works out for you. I hope you have so much fun in this life. You live it for a very short amount of time. I hope everything's cool with you, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We've got another one here. It's like, oh, we got one from Deborah. I love all the laughter.
Yeah. Yay!
All right. Okay. Let's see if we can get a few more questions, and then we'll go back to some other stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, okay. Hi, Michael and Contessa. Just came on a few minutes ago, so questions yet.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Got another question. True. After I opened my senses through your videos, Michael, I am more sensitive to spirits during my sessions. That's what I noticed. I channeled. I hear them more too. I'm doing that quiet meditation more. Thanks, guys. Okay.
Beautiful. Yay. Yay. See, when you're ready, the teacher appears. That's beautiful.
Hmm.
Yes, that's wonderful.
And my big goal is to really try to like, like I would like to teach other people and like, make a little money on the side or whatever. But I kind of almost, I don't know if you feel this too, Contessa, where sometimes you feel like oh, I really want to help and just mentor because it's so healing and that person really needs it.
Right.
Yeah. Do you find yourself in that kind of same position?
I guess so, yes, absolutely. I love mentoring people and helping and so forth. I feel awkward, like you say, about the energy exchange with money. That does make me feel strange. And then I always hate the paperwork about it because there are always books and books and books involved because right? You know, when you start learning something, you have to have books. And when you start opening up to this stuff, you've got so many different avenues of stuff. So
Hmm.
when you're mentoring somebody, it's a little bit difficult because they might be really into their records or another person's really into dreams, whereas another person's really into stars, but it all fits together. So
Hmm.
yeah,
And
it's mm-hmm.
yeah, and right now I'm only mentoring two people because it's just like that's all I can take with just what I've got, like under my belt with school and everything else. I'm just like, and I'm able to mentor them a little bit. And one I just started with, so I haven't been able to get to him yet. I'll have to see if I can get to him a bit later on that. Do you mentor anyone at the moment, Contessa?
No. I think everybody that yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little bit more subtle in my mentoring.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way.
you don't take people directly on, so to
Yes,
say.
correct.
Yeah, unless they were like really close to you or like really serious and such. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah, and
Sure.
yeah.
That's okay. Oh, Deborah's got a question, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Let's
What do you
see.
say?
All right, Contessa, are you always able to stay happy all the time? I would love to be able to stay so full of laughter. Any pointers? That's a good because I've noticed
Oh,
that you are.
I am not happy all the time. I I have a beautiful family that supports me and uplifts me and helps this laughter come from my soul and my friends too. I have had a very hard childhood and I have a huge shadow self and I work on it every single day, just like working on my channeling. So words of advice, always remember that you're loved. Tell yourself often. Um, Another way is listening to those around you that love you and want to remind you of that. If you go into the shadow, shine your light again. So, I mean, those are my pointers. Yeah. So I'm happy, but oh boy, have I been in dark. Like, yes.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
agree. Like you will have your dark days, and
Yeah.
like the one thing I see a lot of energy workers get caught. Like I see them kind of go through a few development stages. Like they kind of get like all like that are especially starting out in this generation. I see a lot of them. They kind of turn into the X-Men. They like want to have all these awesome abilities.
Yes.
I know
And
you've
see,
seen that.
and I have seen that, and you know what? I'm really sad to see that a lot of them get a little bit confused with these gifts and change them into power, and that makes my soul sad because it's like, well, with power, you know, like people die, like that's a control issue. Relax,
Yeah.
relax. You know, if you have gifts, then everybody's happy. We're all relaxed. It doesn't bring negativity to yourself. And then it comes natural. You know, it unfolds naturally and it's beautiful, you know?
Mhm. And I find things unfold a lot more if
Yeah.
they're just for expanding your own like
Yeah.
experience and such,
Yes.
and like expanding the world in that sort of sense. Because like
Yeah.
if you try to like control other people and everything, yeah, it doesn't work out so well,
And people
and
for
you kind of get.
yeah. I mean, people
Mhm.
forget that it does take one person, one act to really change a lot around them. So
Mhm.
you know, it doesn't have to be these grand big things. It can be just the little things that help and change somebody
Mhm.
else as well as yourself. Yes,
And
for sure.
would you like I'd like to really express this too. Like I feel this way, and I'd like to hear your perspective on it. But I'd like to say that energetic development, like with sensing and hearing and you doing all these things, even if you get up to the level of like telekinesis and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like it's not overnight. What would be your kind of, perspective on that, Contessa?
Take something slow. Just
Hmm.
think that when something is aged, it has refined with time. It really has. Because it understands the sun setting and, the sun rising and so forth. You wouldn't want like a nice fine wine that, wasn't aged, right? And
Hmm.
a rose took a very long time to become beautiful too. That's
Yeah.
what we forget. We forget that it's like, oh no, I want stuff immediately now, and so I think it's just patience, having patience.
Hmm. And I've noticed like a lot of the senses, they kind of seem to unfold one on part of another. Like I've noticed like they kind of get a little sharper and a little sharper, kind of like they're unfolding layers.
Yes, yes, I love it. Well, that's why it's this is the veil of tears. We just kind of go through the veil,
Mhm.
and certain things come through. It's nice
Yeah.
for sure. Yes.
So for those of you guys that are like very more like have a lot of crystals, you've had them for a while and such, is there anything really cool that you could offer them, Contessa, that really worked with crystals quite a bit?
Whew. Sing to them, play music for them. They love it. When you walk into the room, greet them. They love the personal side of you. And you have to remember that they picked you to be around and they are so much fun. Have fun with them. I'm serious.
Hmm.
I'm serious. And they will give you, gifts just the same as any human would.
Hmm.
Really.
You have to
Really.
really work with them, and I always keep my wand by my bed, and I don't touch it as often as I'd like because of with work and everything, but I do like to communicate with it and such. And
Hmm.
like I often find like what like to communicate most with is like I think in one of my other little things with you, Contessa, like I told you that I had a living house that I made.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I found out like my house is alive and it talks. And same with my car as well. Like once you like what I've learned is like they can really start to talk and like they start to greet you and like it's like they're not your slaves or anything, but it's like, we kind of have this kind of relationship where it's like we're family.
Yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
take care of each other.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like
And it's
my
good too. Like if you've had an amethyst and say it was really dark when you got it and it starts to, lighten up, then you know that your energy is mixing with their energy. So if you're
Mhm.
noticing any like color changes, things like that, make sure they're not in the sun, but you're
Mhm.
taking on their energy and they're taking on yours. So it's a
Mhm.
partnership. It's good.
Yeah, and you know what I noticed when like with my quartz crystal, like after I had it, like after the first couple of months, I noticed like all these new lines started to form inside of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, like what would you say that is? Like I'm thinking it's like their consciousness is expanding and moving in new ways, but like what's your perspective on that?
I pretty yes. And as well as, it's finding new pathways. Like the more you learn, the more the crystal is learning as well too.
Hmm.
And it's just like a book, once you're kind of looking at a book, you don't just pick up a book and not I mean, most of us don't really like open a book and make the um what is that on the backbone of the book, cracking a book open,
Hmm.
right? Even when you're learning in a book, you're going to be making lines in it. So it's just the same with the rocks.
Yeah, and you know what's really cool? I've noticed like no two crystals are ever like they kind of do like something similar, but they never do the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just yes.
Like, have you had? What do you think about like? I know you said you love to babysit crystals. What is it like when you babysit other people's crystals?
Uh, and usually when they get them back, they felt like it's been a spa treatment, and so we have a little discussion of what the rocks were saying, and it's nice because it just jives with them too.
Hmm.
So people usually give me their rocks because they know that they're going to be saged really nice and blessed and just kind of cleaned up. Just like you would take your computer to get defragged or whatnot. That's
Mhm.
what I do with my rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what happens with the rocks. So we're just tuning stuff out and
Mhm.
revamping everything.
Do they ever have personal? Have you ever had a crystal have a very personal conversation with you?
Oh, I think all of them do. They
Yeah.
all do. Yes.
What's a really memorable one you've had like that was very memorable that you really remember?
Hmm. I guess it would have to be this one. I come to think of it. I just pulled this rock out the other day, and it's not a crystal, it's a rock. But I was living in the wilderness, and we needed fire, and so I sat with this rock, and I had to use it as a palm rock. So I guess this would be the one. So this is a sandstone. This guy was the one that was like, "I'm gonna bring you fire." And I was able to get fire. So I guess that would be one of the most memorable of
Hmm.
them for sure. Yeah, that's funny. I just pulled this one out, and I've had this a long time. I think I was like 13 when that happened. So yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
funny.
And
That's
the reason I wanted to bring that up is because it's like people can really have these conversations with their crystals and such, and they're not just these little rocks that's like, oh, this one's pretty, and sometimes it is, but it's like they really pick you
right.
out.
And you know what? And especially the way we're talking about this would be the clairaudient, correct? I mean, for
Hmm.
me, that's how I hear them that way. Or sometimes I will see certain colors coming in. So it just depends on which crystal it is and what energy
Hmm.
they're vamping out. I mean, they don't
And
like.
yeah, and for those of you that want to work on your clairaudience, like one thing you can do, I'm gonna take off my headphones for a second so I can show you. Like right behind your ears is the clairaudient points where you really start to hear. Like those are the energy points that the energy comes into, and like you'll notice, like especially if you close your eyes and like you're listening for something, all the energy shifts right there and because it's trying to listen for something, and especially when you're in that stillness, it will definitely start to shift there because that you just got to notice it, and it's going to be kind of like almost like you hear it in your head in a way, but can you explain that a little bit? I'm trying to put words for it.
No, you're fine. You're doing fine. You're explaining that beautifully. I wouldn't second guess yourself at all.
Yeah.
Um, I know that I understand. And if you want to like back to right crystals, those are my tools. If you're a dentist, you would have dental tools. If you're a doctor, you would. So for me, I always work with crystals if I'm trying to work with certain areas. They're my tools.
Hmm.
Um, if you're having trouble moving that energy to the back of your ears and so forth, and actually, like he's saying, it's easy for him. He's been training himself for quite a while.
Hmm.
But what I do is I use blue lace agates, and I have earrings or I'll wear a necklace.
Ooh.
Or if I'm laying down on my bed, I will put one by my pillow in that same area. And so what that's doing is that's allowing you to not only be able to hear, but to be able to speak it as well too, so that you're not only hearing that energy come in, but like your words are almost verbatim what's coming through.
I love that, and I'm sometimes jealous of the girls because it's like I'm not the one that wears earrings so much, but it's like, and like they get to have these like stones right there, just right
Yes.
there,
Uh-huh. Oh yes, it's lovely.
and you guys have the necklaces,
Yeah.
but it's like for me, it's like I've got
Oh
like
yeah, You know what?
mm,
Labradorite's good too. This is my Labradorite. This is from Marie, and oh, this stone has been so special, and it feels so soothing to work on this area too. This is a good other stone to work with if you're trying to open that area. Yay!
yeah.
I'm like, yay! I love my rocks. I
Yeah.
can't. Mhm.
So okay, here's a really big question, Canessa, and this might take a second for you on this one. All right, for those people that, for anyone that's watching, for those people that have been really, really hurt in their hearts and they're kind of feeling like they're going stone cold, Like, what would you say would be something to kind of really start healing them? Because you may know the kind of place that they're in, Contessa, at that point. It's difficult. It's very difficult. They're probably very alone and such. What would you recommend to somebody that's in that kind of place? You know, just kind of getting into that hard place for this kind of video here.
Don't ever forget that you can always snuff out your flame, but your candle will always be there. So remember that you staying in your own light and feeling your own love is very, very important. You know,
Hmm.
it's easy to like, you know, slide into that, get into that darkness and want to just bring all that on, but it's not worth it. It's a horrible ripple. It's a horrible ripple.
Hmm.
So like I said, it's just like a muscle, so it's training your brain to be in good framework and feeling that your self-worth, you're worth more abundance and love than you will ever imagine, no matter
Hmm.
what, you know,
Yeah,
and reminding yourself of that. Hmm.
and I don't know if anyone will disagree, and I don't know if you'll disagree with me on this one. Is like I've noticed like sometimes when you're trying to help people that are really depressed and stuff, it's like make sure that it's kind of like they're willing to have you help because sometimes it's like yes, you can be the one to kind of poke them out of that situation,
Yes.
but other times it can kind of be a bit of a backlash on you because it's
Yes.
like that higher guidance wants them to go through that and transform that experience. And it's like what can happen, like in my experience, it can kind of, you know, the the higher guidances, like that higher selves will kind of communicate and it's like saying, hey, this is kind of I need this for my experience and they kind of really try to help each other on that. So it tries to get even though it's kind of painful for you, they try to get you kind of out of the way on that because otherwise you're kind of interfering with that person's experience at that point in their time.
Well, and it's funny too because if somebody's drowning, you can hand them the life jacket or you can hand them the, you know, ring and they're the ones that ultimately have to make the choice of
Hmm.
taking hold of it. Now, they at that point that's how you have to remember they have many choices. They have
Hmm.
tons of choices and the choices are unlimited. So, what you have to just remember is sometimes when you are trying to rescue somebody, you don't want them bringing you down with them, you know.
Hmm.
Because ultimately, you know, if somebody's drowning, they're freaking out and they're freaking out, they're shoving you down, and they don't even realize what they're doing. It's just a human reaction.
Hmm.
So it depends on when you take a hold of how much of your own personal energy are you going to continue to spend on the situation,
Hmm.
right? At what point do you say, okay, that happened yesterday, now is right now, and I
Hmm.
need to like focus on right now, and I'm
Hmm.
not going to invest any more energy in that. And then I'm going to thank myself for making it through it, and then I'm going to just press on from here.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to bring up that topic is because, like, and like you said, like, they kind of can bring you down as well.
Yes,
It's
and it
like,
hurts, and it hurts, and they don't, and that's the sad part. Sometimes when you're like, okay, hey, I
mm,
need your help, and then that person's like, okay, well, help me, help me, help me, and you know, I'm guilty of this too, turning back around and just, you know, lashing out because I'm saying these things to myself,
mm,
and so then it like comes out because then I'm externalizing it instead of internalizing it, and then now I've harmed these other people that are trying to help me, and then I don't even realize that they love me and they're trying to help me.
mm-hmm. And you know, it's like there can be harm and good in that too, because so it's kind of like I think it's kind of almost a balancing act too on that.
Yes, yes.
And the one reason I really wanted to bring this up is because like sometimes it's like you've got to let them go through their stuff, and it's at the end it's always their
Mhm.
choice.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's like when the people are in really crazy situation, you got to be careful with not getting your own self
Mhm.
hurt too, because and this is a very sad story, but like I remember my mom telling me this the other day. There was this guy, he was going to commit suicide, and there was this fireman. He really wanted to help this guy. He's like he managed to kind of coax him from the ledge or whatever, and he grabbed the fireman's hand, and the fireman kind of relaxed, and he pulled him like through the window, and they both got killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard.
so oh, hello, sweetie. What's up?
Weren't you supposed to look at 9?
Oh, yes, I will be. Yeah.
You do realize it's 9:30.
Oh, time.
All right, no problem. We'll talk to you later. You have a great night.
And before we
It's all
go,
good.
let's answer a few questions, and then I'll
No,
have to
no, we're
go.
good. No, no, you're fine. Go have your birthday dinner. We'll talk soon, and you have a beautiful night.
Yeah. And anyways, guys, I'm sorry I'm not gonna be able to get to all your questions, but it's like rate, comment, subscribe, and I have Contessa's stuff down below, her Facebook page, her stuff if you want to get anything from her, like crystals, Reiki, or anything. She has a lot of experience, and that's why I wanted to have her on. And so I love having you guys. I love having you, Contessa. I may even ask you back if you would like
Cool.
to come back.
Cool. All right. No problem. Go get your dinner. Go have fun. It's your birthday. We'll talk
All right.
soon. Peace out.
See you, Contessa.
Bye.